What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug, day 10 of my summer painting challenge. Here's my Iron Blaster, about 50% done. Base coats and washes down. That's time for some highlights, some details. Working through it, there's still some parts that I forgot to paint that just kind of flew under the radar. So that's why this thing is packed with so much detail. You really have to look at every single section separately and work your way through it. I absolutely love this model though. So much detail packed into it, and I cannot wait to finish it. So let's move on to the question of the day. We're going to come back right after this break. And don't forget, if you want to paint up something with us and join us for the Summer Painting Challenge, head to the link below in the description. Going to take you right to the Discord where you can join up with your Oath of Moment. Alright, so thank you so much to my patrons for supporting Warboss Tay Studios, and if you would like to become a patron of Warboss Tay Studios, just click on the link below in the description. It'll take you to my Patreon where you can help my studio out by supporting me financially. So thank you so much for that, and let's move on to the question of the day. How do you deal with painter's block? This is a very, very emotional issue for me because over the years, I, along with many of you, I suspect, have amassed a collection of miniatures, plastic, metal, fine cast, resin, for a number of different games and a number of different systems that we just haven't gotten to yet. So how do I go about tackling these projects? Well, very simply, I've developed a new method that has paid off so well for me. And it's a method that I've not really considered before. And I think that's why I just acquire things and collect and collect and collect, and I get myself overwhelmed by how much I have in my collection, like I'm sure many of you do. So let me give you my new, really foolproof way of dealing with my pile of potential or my pile of shame. The first thing you do is find what in your pile you want to paint, like that you need to paint, something that is like gonna propel you to see a project through to the end, right? Because we've got so many things to paint in our piles that if we consider something for a couple of seconds and move on, then that's like wasted energy. What I want you to do is think about your pile of potential. Think about what you have that you really do want to see finished. It has to be something that you want to see finished. It can't just be something that you have a passing, like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was something I wanted to paint. I guess I could try. No, I want you to choose something in your pile of potential that you really feel strongly that you want to finish to completion. Even if that means just base coat, shades, and highlights, and like that's it. It doesn't have to be Golden Demon winning or White Dwarf heavy metal worthy. Just find something in your pile of potential that you really want to see through to completion, and you just focus on that project and have it on your painting table, have it right there within easy grasp, easy reach, because you're going to conquer the painter's block that kept you from finishing that model or that army or whatever it is in the first place. So this is how I do it. It's like a 3-step process. The first step, the first phase of this process is consider why you purchased that and why you wanted to build it up and why you wanted to paint it. That one particular box. Is it for a new army? Is it to expand the current army you have? Like, what drew you to spend the money or however you came about to acquire it? What propelled you and motivated you to add this box to your collection? Okay, after you have that core motivation, that impetus in your mind, and you hold on to it, like, oh, I remember I wanted to start this Horus Heresy Night Lord's army, or I wanted to start Seraphon. And then I realized how hard it is to paint Lizardmen, and I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. But I did, at one point, I did have the motivation and the want to paint up this army. So hold on to that, right? Hold that in your mind. And then I want you to think about what is the challenge, the obstacle, the wall that created the painter's block for you? Was it you don't have enough time to play? Was it there wasn't enough interest in your gaming group, so you just decided, well, why am I even bothering collecting this Blood Bowl team? Is it your lack of ability or your lack of confidence in your ability to paint whatever you're trying to collect? Or did you just, this is the biggest one, did you just lose interest? Because that loss of interest is what we have to conquer as gamers, as hobbyists, as collectors. Because that lack of interest in one project could lead to lack of interest across an entire game, which could lead to a lack of interest across the hobby itself, collecting miniatures, playing war games, and engaging in this hobby. So what is it the lack of interest? What is the main challenge and the obstacle that has come up for you? Okay, and then once you hone in on that, if it's just a passing thing that can be easily conquered, like, oh, there wasn't enough of an interest in my local area to play Necromunda, but I'm still interested in painting up this Goliath gang, for example, then forget about everything else that's holding you back and just pick out a color scheme, pick out some paints, and just get to work, right? If it's easily conquerable, the hardest thing to conquer is the loss of interest, because interest, the love of the hobby, the motivation to collect and have in your collection this painted thing is what is going to drive you to move forward with your paints, with your painting. If you don't have that, then there isn't really much that I could do to help reinvigorate you. You have to find that motivation again. That's why you always go back to that phase one step. What initially drew you to adding this thing to your collection? If you really love that Goliath gang, that Necromunda piece, that Blood Bowl team, then who cares if you don't have a community to play with, or who cares if you're not confident in your ability to paint up that Lizardmen army? Just paint it. It's just base coats, shades, highlights. And you can mix and match and do as much or as little of that as you want, but just all you have to do is put some paint on your brush. And I've mentioned this before in another video. The easiest way to conquer painter's block, if you don't want to get into your head, you don't want to do that whole process of finding the motivation and your challenges and your obstacles, do this. Just sit in your chair with whatever is putting that painter's block up in front of you. Just sit in your chair and put some paint on your brush. That's it. Just put some paint on your brush, whatever you think you have to work on next. Like if you're painting a Sons of Horus army for Horus Heresy, just put some Lupercal green or some Sons of Horus green onto your paintbrush. That's all you have to do. Don't think about, what I have to paint or what the process or what the next step is. Just put some paint on your brush and you're going to be amazed. You're going to pick up that miniature and you're going to put the paint onto the miniature. So somehow, even after you thin it down in your wet palette, like you're going to find the path forward instinctively, because you're watching a Warboss Tate video, and that means that you're into the hobby, you're into the artistry, and you're into storytelling through your painting and through your collecting and having a good time doing it. That's what my channel is all about, having a good time collecting miniatures and painting them. So don't worry. And you know what? If you still have that painter's block, just jump on the Warboss Tate Discord channel. I'm going to leave the link down below in the description. Head over there and ask for help, ask for advice, put up some works in progress, whatever you want to do to engage with my community, because we have a super supportive, fun, and helpful, talented group of painters over on the Warboss Tate Discord. All right, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. This is day 10 of my summer painting challenge for 2024. I'm going to probably be trying to add and modify my project because I have a bunch of different things coming up and my schedule is going to be a little bit up in the air. So you might see some changes to the Ogor Vanguard box, which is great because I'm almost done with it after this Iron Blaster. I've only got the Gluttons, some Noblars, and 2 Mournfang to paint up. So I feel really confident that I'm going to get done before the end of June, which means that I'm going to try to add on to that if I can. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for day 11. Latest, players.